Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, thanks to all of you who have been waiting for our podcast. Okay, before we get into this spectacular podcast, we want to introduce ourselves to all of you, my friends. Let me introduce myself. I'm Alvin Rusli, usually called Alvin, and I've also been accompanied by my brother.
Hello, I'm Ihsan Sulthan Muflih, also known as Ihsan.
Okay, without further ado, let's jump straight into this very exciting podcast material. Cultural difference between American, British, and Indonesian, which includes food and drinks, lifestyle, and music. Friends, speaking of culture, what is the meaning of culture itself? Maybe my brother can explain to my friends Ambyar.
Okay, of course I can explain. Culture is all the work, creativity, and taste of the people who inhabit an area and are carried out from generation to generation.
Oh, it turns out that's the meaning of culture itself.
Yes,
Well, now we know, friends. The meaning of culture that has been explained by my brother Ihsan. We go straight to the first material that we will discuss, namely the differences in food and drink between the three countries. The first to be discussed is America. What do you think about the food and drinks there, Ihsan?
Okay, for the first one, it's about the food. I think American food like fast food, for examples, burger, hot dogs, pizza, and cereal. Well, for the drink itself in America, it tends to be fizzy and alcoholic drinks. Therefore, there are many variants of soft drinks and alcoholic drinks there, for example, such as Coca-Cola and Black Label. There are both beverage brands that are worldwide and most often consumed there. And the last one is coffee. Well, usually people in America, if they don't drink coffee for breakfast, it feels less good. That's why the culture of drinking coffee there is also very strong. So that is more or less the explanation pin.
Oh, it turns out that's how the food and drinks are there. No wonder America is included in the country with the highest obese population in the world, because it is supported by an unhealthy lifestyle, because they like to eat fast food like that.
That's right, Finn.
Okay, now let's move to England, my friends. What do you think the food and drinks there? Is it different from America, Ihsan?
Okay, Finn, of course there are different foods and drink in the British, to the point that only the issue of different types of food is debated there.
Seriously, until that much?
Yes, of course, because Americans think that British food tastes are weird. So for example, American tends to eat unhealthy food such as fast food and junk food. In Britain, it tends to breed like pies, sandwich, and so on. Americans themselves began to insult British food with a typical British food called butty chips and sandwich containing quite a lot of potatoes. And not only that, they also insulted the typical British pie called the Stargazy pie, or a pie filled with baked eggs and potatoes and tucked in some sardines whose heads were poking out of the pie crust. The point is that the problem of food taste between America and Britain is a serious problem for them, even though they are on the same island.
Wow, it looks quite interesting. The debate between these different food tastes, wow. Well then, son, it was about the food, now the drink. What's the difference, do you think?
Okay, so for drink, England has a unique tea culture. They have a special time to drink it. The first is the most famous afternoon tea. Afternoon tea is done at 3 to 5 p.m. local time. Usually, in addition, To tea will also be served dishes or like side dishes such as sandwich, scones, heavy cream, and various sweet food such as cakes and pastries. The second is royal tea. Royal tea is the tradition of drinking the serviette with campage and at the beginning and ending with a serving of sherry at the end of drinking tea. Now lastly, beside afternoon tea and royal tea, there is also a high tea tradition, which is dinner served at 6 p.m. local time. The menu served includes bread, meat, fish, eggs, and don't forget to serve it with tea. So that's the explanation, Finn.
Okay, it turns out that the difference is very far from America, right?
Yes, of course, Finn. It's very different. Besides being different from America, in our own country, namely Indonesia, there is also a differences between the food and drink culture on the two countries.
Wow, what are the differences? Please explain the food and the drinks in our country, Ihsan.
With my pleasure. Okay? So the characteristic of the different food or drinks that exist in our country are processed by a variety of strong spices, different from America and England. Just like an example, namely from the food category there are rendang, rawon, soto, and many others. Then from the category of drinks, it's our country, there is a culture of drinking herbal medicine. From children to adults, also participate in drinking this drink. Example of these herbal drinks are kencur, beras kencur, wedang, and many others.
Well, it turns out that the food and drinks in Indonesia are no less unique than America and Britain. Maybe because we Indonesians definitely like the food and drinks in Indonesia.
That's right, I'm sure of that.
Okay, that's how it is, my friend. Is confused about the differences in food and drink in the three countries. Okay, now let's discuss the second material, my friends. We'll talk about healthy. Okay, namely about the differences in the type of sports between the three countries. The first we will discuss is the type of sport in America. So, what are the types of sports here in Ihsan?
Okay, Finn, there are many types of popular sport. There are such as baseball, basketball, American football, and hockey.
Wow, it's quite interesting. The types of sport that exist in America.
Yes, of course, it's interesting. Especially since my hobby include the types of sport that exist in America. No?
Really? Which sport?
Basketball.
Wow, it's the same as me.
That's good. When can we play basketball together, okay?
Okay, Ihsan. Now we're moving to the UK. What are the different types of sport from America?
Certainly different from the lifestyle in America. In the UK, the types of sport are cricket, football, rugby, and tennis. Although many people say that the types of cricket and baseball are the same, and the reality is that the two sports are different.
Wow, that's the difference.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, now let's go back to our country, my friend, namely Indonesia. Ihsan, please explain the types of sport that exist in our country.
Alright, Finn. So the types of sport that exist in our country are classified as traditional, unlike in America and England, where the sport equipment is modern. This time, I will only mention 3 types, because there are so many types of traditional sport that exist. Okay, for the first one, It is a stone jump or batu lompat. Batu lompat is an Indonesian sport which is a tradition of the people of Nias Island. Initially, this sport was done as a pre-war preparation. Nias youth who successfully perform this sport will be considered mature and physically mature and ready for marriage. Then, the second one, namely karapan sapi, as the same suggests. Bull racing is done by using a pair of cows tied to a wooden cart that is controlled by a jockey or driver and competes quickly with other cows. Now the last one is Paktakara. Although it was claimed by several countries in South Asia, such as Malaysia, Laos, the Philippines, and Thailand, sepak takraw is actually a unique and original sport from Indonesia, originating from South Sulawesi. And how to play, it's quite unique, like combining soccer and volleyball. That is by kicking the ball beyond the net that is spread out in the middle of the field.
Okay, that's how it is, guys, the types of sport that exist in our country. No less interesting and healthy, of course, from America and England. Okay, all of you friends, if that's the kind of sport that exists between the three countries. Now we go to the discussion of the last material, namely the music between the three countries. Well, let's just talk about Amir Buddy, namely music in America and Britain. Can you explain, son, what kind of music is there in these two countries?
Of course, yes, Daddy. So, when it comes to British pop or English bands, the music tends to be calm. The lyrics are simple and they don't play explosive or too loud. And in contrast to American bands, they tend to be explosive by exploring new sounds that are more modern and many genres to try in one album. Moreover, they like to feature with rappers, where hip-hop and R&B music has indeed become a trademark for American music.
Oh, okay. It turns out that the difference is there, right? Great. So let's go back to Indonesia. Can you explain, son, what kind of music is there?
Well, Vin, the original music in Indonesia is more traditional because in making the music, the instruments used are made from bamboo, such as angklung, suling, and suun. Unlike in England and America, which in making music they are already use modern tools, such as guitar, drums, piano, and so on.
Oh, it turns out that the music in Indonesia is very different. It tends to be more traditional. Considering that we were once a colony, so it was difficult and long to develop in a more modern direction.
Yes, that's right, Queen.
Alright, my friends, that's what our podcast and all about today. I will conclude that the first, regarding fruit and drink. Of course, at first glance, we have seen that the differences are very far between the three countries. Americans tend to eat and drink such as fast food, soda, alcohol, and coffee, while the British eat and the British food and drinks such as bread, potatoes, and tea, as well as Indonesians whose foods are rich in spices such as rendang, soto, and rawon. Then the drinks are also classified as drinks that are rich in spices like herbs. Second, regarding the type of sport, differences in the types of sport between the three countries. As Ihsan said earlier, the types of sports in America and England are more modern, compared to Indonesia. The last one regarding music. There are different kinds of music in Amerika, Britain, and Indonesia. Music in America, for example, rappers, hip-hop, and R&B, while the music genre in Britain is calmer than America, and Indonesian music is more traditional than the two countries.
That's right.
Okay. Even though we are different, we still have to respect each other between countries to continue to create good personalities and also always maintain and protect what we have in each country. Alright? That's it from our podcast. I hope you are entertained and not only entertained, but also get useful knowledge from the material we have discussed. Okay, let's end. I'm Alvin Rusli.
And I'm Ihsan Sulthan Muflih.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.